Welcome back to Season 1, Episode 2 of Statistics, Data for Movies. I'm Elizabeth, actor data scientist extraordinaire, and today we're returning to our season's topic, female characters measured on the FemmeMeter. If you don't know who I am or what I'm talking about, pause, take a minute, go down to the comments, and return to my first video. Then, hopefully, come back. Returners, thanks so much for being here. We've got a good one today. Like I said in my last video, the FemmeMeter was created to be completely unbiased. We're not here to measure a character's physical strength or how badass she is. We're here to measure how important she is to the story. So, after last week when we tackled Black Widow, the femme fatale, this week we are taking it back 30 years to 1989 to measure Diane Court from Say Anything. At first, I did not have high expectations for Diane's success. All of the plot summaries that I had seen had described her as a high-achieving but highly sheltered valedictorian, which I figured was setting up the audience for a plot about a girl who throws away her personality because her summer boyfriend taught her how to have fun. I figured she would fall into a pretty typical trap of rom-coms, the agency void, which I'll explain more about later. But I was completely wrong. Diane actually scored a whopping 85, 36 full points higher than Black Widow. There were a lot of things that the writers did correctly when they created Diane. Within the first 30 minutes of the movie, she's already established herself as a leading character and passed the Bechdel Test by speaking to her classmate Ruth about how they pushed each other academically in high school. A note for my data nerds. The crowdsourced website that I used incorrectly stated that Say Anything failed the Bechdel Test. This is a great exercise in making sure that you don't rely on data that you can't fully trust. Always verify your stuff. It may cost you extra time, but in my case, it would have cost Diane 20 points. The Bechdel test isn't the only place that Diane receives full marks. She also receives a 5 out of 5 for her agency, accounting for 20% of her score and fully avoiding the agency void that I mentioned earlier. The agency void exists when a plot shapes a character, rather than a character shaping a plot. There's a couple of different ways to measure this with data, but it essentially boils down to this. If you removed our character from the story, would the story stay the same? If the answer is yes, obviously, she gets a 0. Diane received a 5 because she passed all the agency thresholds. She can't be replaced by another character, her background influences all of her decisions, and she changes the trajectory of the plot multiple times. Without her, we have no reason to know Lloyd, we have no conflict with her father, and we have no fellowship in England to agonize over. It's not that she's just an important part of the plot. She is the plot. She's irreplaceable. Outside of Diane's character, this movie does a surprisingly good job of rejecting traditional forms of masculinity.
I got a question. You guys know so much about women. How come you're here at like a gas and sip on a Saturday night completely alone drinking beers? No women anywhere.
By choice, man.
Diane's father always treats her with the utmost kindness and respect, even when he disagrees with her decision. Lloyd also takes her and loves her fully, as she is. There is no point in this movie when she is not enough for anyone, including herself. This kind of character creation very clearly comes from the top. It doesn't surprise me that Say Anything was produced by a woman and funded by a production company inspired by female comedians. Empowered women empower women. So, we end up with Diane Court from Say Anything at an 85 on the FemmeMeter. Did I miss something? Or do you disagree? Mention it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie data content. See you next time.